Good morning, everyone. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Today, we're going to jump right into a story about a YouTube and Instagram influencer that is currently sitting behind bars in Suffolk County, New York. He's accused of stealing the identity of a Long Island woman and charging over $19,000 to fund his lavish lifestyle. In the world of online influencers, it can be difficult to navigate between what's real and what's fake. Every day, we're inundated with photos and videos through Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, WhatsApp, of these influencers that are depicting a high life. They show us all of the latest gifts they've bought, all of the latest bags they've purchased, the makeup, the clothing, the trips. Most of these influencers are attempting to present a lifestyle to their viewers that might not actually be real. And when this happens, many people on YouTube and on Instagram are often like, is this real? Is this fake? In the case of Christian Aaron, his life was rather extravagant. He took photos and uploaded them on Instagram of trips to Paris, of Milan. He took trips to Maui, multiple trips to Hawaii, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, New York. And on each of these videos, he was seen shopping and purchasing expensive luxury items. He seemed to favor handbags made by Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Birkin even, and he unboxed them in videos for his 184,000 followers on Instagram and his over 42,000 subscribers on YouTube. An example of a haul he did in Paris gives sort of an indication of what his life was all about.
Open it up. Inside there is this dust bag. Now this I own all of the other ones, and I'll just show you before I go into the story. So I ask for this every single time I walk into a Louis Vuitton, and every time they never have it. So this is the Toiletry 26 monogram, made in France, beautiful little pouch. I have the 19 and the 15, and I'm so excited to now have the trifecta because literally it's a holy grail set for Louis Vuitton. Like, anyone that's an official Louis Vuitton lover knows that you're not an official Louis Vuitton lover unless you have all three, or at least know that all three is extremely important to have. So I'm in love with that purchase.
This wasn't the only one of his videos. In fact, if you go to his YouTube account or his Instagram, you will see dozens of videos like this of him unpacking boxes and boxes and boxes of luxury items. Just last month, he was on a trip in New York where he spent obscene amounts of money on items that he said that he would be adding to collections for a reselling company where he would purchase bags and then resell them. However, prosecutors in New York say not all of that was as it seemed. People online even began to suspect that Christian Aaron was not being truthful, and in another YouTube video, he addressed the rumors about where he got his money, and he said the money came from initially his parents who gave him money on the holidays, and he said his father made him save the money, and that after he graduated from high school, he used that money to move to New York. Now, mind you, he is only 19 years old, so he has gone through a considerable amount of money in a very short amount of time. Here is how he described what he did with the money.
Oh, he made me save all my money. When I moved to New York, I had a lot of money. I turned that into a handbag reselling company. I resold handbags for about 6 months. But during that time period, I was buying a lot of handbags and traveling a lot, so I had accumulated, by January 1st when I moved to LA, I had accumulated a few $100,000 worth of designer goods and travels. I had then, when I moved to LA, not continued that company. That is where I went wrong. I did not continue handbag reselling. Instead, what I did was I lived at the Camden, very, very expensive. I did all of that. That was $3,400 a month before any other bills, and put all my money into that. And because I wasn't working, I was selling all of the designer stuff I had accumulated and bought over the last few years in order to live the same lifestyle I was living before. So I was going through it very, very, very quickly, and it was bound to run out at some point.
In the video, he goes on to say that he was trying to keep up with the Joneses, and he wanted people to believe that the money that he had came from buying and reselling handbags. However, the DA in Suffolk County says that's not the case. In fact, Aaron used money that he stole, finding the identity of a woman in Long Island, finding her social security number and date of birth, and using that to open a American Express card or a replacement card, which he then ordered over $19,000 of goods from online handbags. He took a trip to Maui. In a statement to the media, the DEA said, "As with all financial crimes, our office investigates and prosecutes. This was an act of greed, but this defendant wasn't just after money. He committed these crimes in part to keep up with the online persona he crafted for himself to get likes on social media." His alleged actions have very real-world consequences, though, including an extremely negative impact on the victim's credit. This case should serve as a lesson to anyone who believes that he or she can operate in anonymity by committing identity theft or other financial crimes after either on the internet or over the phone. You will get caught and you will be held responsible. So what they say he did was in December 2017, acting with a co-defendant who is not named, he opened up an American Express credit card that belonged to a Suffolk County resident. He went on to purchase plane tickets from New York to Hawaii, and he set up hotel reservations at the Aulani Disney Resort and Spa in Hawaii. He allegedly then used the credit cards in the victim's name while in Hawaii to purchase handbags and clothing at multiple designer stores, including Dolce & Gabbana, Chanel, Agent Pro Victor, along with others. He allegedly made approximately $19,000 in fraudulent purchases using the credit in the victim's name with her personal identification information. During the same time period, he also called American Express on several occasions and identified himself as the victim and provided the victim's personal identification information in order to use the credit card to open additional credit cards in her name. Then he attempted to make several purchases of designer handbags and clothing from The Real, an online luxury consignment store, using the credit cards for approximately $31,000, but the orders were canceled by the retailer before the items were shipped. He was arraigned on an indictment on Friday, June 21st, by Suffolk County Supreme Court Justice Richard Ambrose, and they set his bail at $15,000 cash or $30,000 bond. If he's convicted on all of his crimes, he faces up from 2 to 7 years in prison. The case will be prosecuted by Jessica Lightstone of the Financial Investigations Unit of Suffolk County. This is only simply one of the cases. It's unknown if he stole identities of other residents. This pertains to a single identity theft victim. There could be more given the fact that he consistently travels all over the country. In the last year alone, I found trips to Hawaii, Las Vegas, New York City, Los Angeles, and Florida. He presented a life of abundance. He presented a life of having massive amounts of wealth, and he tried to hobnob and sort of rub elbows with large influencers. In fact, he posted a photo on his Instagram of a Ferrari that belongs to YouTube influencer Jake Paul. He also attempted to help friends launch their own influencer pages as well on Instagram and help them get in touch with the elite people. Obviously, all of this was a scam and an allure of him to get attention, likes, as well as internet fame. It's unknown how much money he made along the way, but as you can see, he did quite a bit of traveling, purchased a lot of goods, as well as burned a ton of bridges. It's a reminder to everyone that even though you see these photos on Instagram or videos on YouTube of these young influencers with lavish lifestyles and luxurious and expensive products that it's not always what it appears to be. Clearly, Christian Aaron wanted people to believe that he was wealthy when in fact he was stealing money from other people. Why people do this is really not known. Could it be that he suffers from low self-esteem? Is he depressed? Is he trying to compensate for something? It's really not known. His family lives in Florida. It sounds like his family is a relatively normal family in terms of they've rarely ever been involved in anything related to Christian. And in videos on YouTube, he said multiple times that his parents do not want to be involved in what he does online. He was also featured on an episode of Dr. Phil where he talked about the loneliness that he had despite the fact that he had 184,000 Instagram followers and 42,000 YouTube subscribers. For now, he remains held in Suffolk County Jail. He has a court date actually this morning for another appearance on his charges. And it's unknown if there will be additional charges that come forth along with his crimes. He talked about having a background in IT, so it is probable that there could be additional victims coming forward. Please remember that influencers are trying to sell you a brand. They're trying to sell you products. They want you to believe their truth. Influencers rarely provide you all the details of their lives and sometimes are doing very nefarious and criminal things to achieve their goals. This was the scoop today with Katie Joy. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about Christian Aaron and if you knew about this case at all. And if there's other influencers that you would like me to track and see what they're up to, please leave me a comment and I will do my best to get back to you. You can always follow me on Twitter at WOA Crystal Ball and on Facebook at facebook.com/withoutacrystalball. I'm always here on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.